This is the Uptick Network Stock Day Podcast, sponsored by InvestorsHangout.com. Penny stock news and interviews from the microcap world. Public information on OTC, pink sheets, and microcap stocks from around the world. With your host, Everett Jolly.
On today's show, I'm very excited to have this gentleman on my show. I've been following his company for over a year. They're just crushing it, and in my view. His name is Eric Parkinson. He is the CEO of Hannover House Incorporated. They trade on the OTC under the ticker symbol HHSE. Eric, welcome to the show.
Hi, Everett. Thanks. I'm glad to be here.
You know, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got implemented in Hannover House, and what you guys do out there.
Well, I'm a long-term film industry executive. I got started way back in the early 80s, 1983, 1984, making music videos for MTV back when they used to actually run music videos. I got into the home video business, had my first #1 hit in 1984. It was a joint venture with ABC Sports called the 1984 Summer Olympics. And I've had a real steady success stream since then. I've had over 1,000 titles released on video. I've had 127 releases that were certified RIAA Gold or Platinum bestsellers. And I worked my way up to being the CEO at a NASDAQ-traded film company called Hemdale Communications, did Terminator, Platoon, Last Emperor, Hoosiers, and in 1996 we sold that library to MGM for $250 million. I became a consultant for a few years, and then in 2002 I bought a publishing company called Hannover House. And my plan, which I implemented, was to add to their book business by adding in the DVD product line. So in 2002 we began selling DVDs. In 2007 I hired one of the senior executives of the bank. His name is Fred Shefty. The Bank of Fayetteville was handling our finances, and he came to work for the company as president. And then in 2010, we became a publicly traded company by virtue of doing, I guess it's called a reverse merger or some kind of acquisitions, where we ended up in control of TDGI, Target Development. Target Development was later on rebranded as Hannover House. But we are one of only 12 full-service independent film distributors. We distribute movies to theaters, home video, video on demand, international, television. You see our products at Walmart. You see our films on Netflix. You see us at Redbox. You see us at all the major film festivals. And we're enjoying it. It's a great business with a dynamic, changing media platform that we're excited to be involved in.
Well, I've got a couple questions for you myself, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but book publishing is on the downtrend. DVDs is on the downtrend. Blu-ray disc appears to be leveling off or declining. What steps is Hannover House taking to, you guys had some great growth in 2015, over $6 million north of that. So where's the growth going to come from in the revenues and the profits in the future here?
Well, yeah, and Everett, and I would like to point out that we're going to continue to remain active in the media fields of book publishing and DVD, even though they're on the decline. It's interesting to note that DVD unit sales were actually up, not just for us, but industry-wide in 2015, but the dollar revenues were down, meaning that the pricing is coming down, so
yes,
consumers are paying less for DVDs. The book business is starting to recover. There was a huge double whammy. It was the collapse of Walden Books and Borders Group.
Right.
At the same time that we had the whole, I guess the subprime recession. I don't know if there's an official name for it, but about 2008, 2009. And so the book business really tanked, and it's just now really coming back quite strongly. Barnes & Noble has actually told us that a lot of the consumers are preferring to buy books, but as opposed to e-readers. What we're doing in Hannover House on the dynamic front end is that we've refocused our attention towards higher profile movies that will go to theaters first. And there's a rationale for going to theaters, and the first one is it creates a greater demand on all the ancillaries from international to home video. The second is one of our most important clients is Netflix, and they have a policy that they will look more favorably at films that have a theatrical release. So we can go out and spend some money to create greater awareness and visibility for a film theatrically, and that in turn helps us sell more videos and helps us get placements at places like Netflix as well as the other cable networks. You know, we're a steady supplier for Showtime, Stars, and every once in a while HBO and some of the other cable networks. So we're really using theatrical as the front end.
My guest today is Eric Parkinson. He is the CEO of Hannover House Incorporated. They trade on the OTC markets under the ticker symbol HHSE. You know, tell us about, I know you guys have been touting your upcoming production of Mother Goose, Journey to Utopia. How's that doing? When is the release going to be on that?
Well, yeah, and that's really what we would call a locomotive or a tentpole release for the company. The vast majority of the films in our library, and we have over 350 titles, are lower budgeted films that previously would have gone direct to video. The movie Mother Goose Journey to Utopia has a terrific cast. We've got Samuel Jackson and Shirley MacLaine attached. The scheduling to work out around everybody's schedule is to start principal photography on December the 5th. It's a very big venture for us. It was very complicated to raise the money. The biggest component of the money was a participation from the state of Arkansas through the film office as well as the new technology incentives that they have set up under the Economic Employment Development Corporation. So we're able as a small company to step up with some foreign pre-sales and step up with some private equity, add those to the Arkansas rebates, and make ourselves a movie that will really change the company. When you look at the independent film arena, you look at companies like Lionsgate, and you could point your finger at a particular date in time when Lionsgate went from being a small video company to being a major studio, and many people would say it was the merger with Summit and the release of the Twilight series. But you could do that same kind of comparison for almost every company that has emerged, and we're feeling that Mother Goose is going to be our Lionsgate moment. Ideally, we would like to release it in November of 2017. There is a cross-promotion being established with a major restaurant chain, and so they may push us into a date that works better for them because they would be buying multiple millions of dollars worth of network time in consideration for cross-branding. So if our sponsor, if our restaurant sponsor pushes the title, we'll push the title. But either way, it will be ready by mid to late 2017, and we can release it as early as November or as late as necessary in order to tie in with our cross-promotional partner.
Well, how can a live-action fantasy film budget less? Rumor on Campus, you guys made this movie for around $10 million. Compete with an epic feature such as The Chronicles of Narnia, which costs, reportedly, maybe 10 times more.
Well, and that's interesting. I mean, Chronicles of Narnia was a joint venture between a couple of private companies and Disney. And a lot of times the budgets that you hear being reported include a lot of, I don't know if you would call it fluff, but there's overhead costs and there's releasing costs and all of those things that are added into the perceived investment cost of the movies. We have a lot of our own production equipment here. We have a facility that works as an insert stage. We have a truck. We have all lights and lighting equipment and grip equipment and post-production equipment. So these are things that can save us literally millions of dollars. And so we really feel like we're paying wholesale, whereas a lot of the other movies you see out there are paying retail plus a premium.
Right.
So we think we're gonna end up with a good looking film. The character designs that Dean Jones has already done for us, and he's done all the X-Men movies, the Star Trek Next Generation, and quite a few films, Pirates of the Caribbean. He's doing most of the character designs, and the stuff is just phenomenal. So we're pretty excited about it.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the history of your stock. To me, the price seems very low here at 0.7 of a cent. What do you think some of the factors are impacting the price, and where do you see the prognosis for the company and the stock in the coming next 2 or 3 quarters?
Well, at a book value, our stock should easily be 2.5 to 3 cents. When we filed the Form 10 in March of 2015, the stock did pop to 1.8 cents, but it is we encountered a very unusual circumstance where the auditing company that helped us with the Form 10 lost their PCAOB certification. So we had to actually withdraw our Form 10 registration, and we've hired a much larger accounting firm that's doing our audit in our Form 10 now. So until we file that Form 10, there's been a lot of downward pressure on the stock. Some people were saying, let's wait until they file. And at the same time, we have not been promoting the stock. We haven't been doing IR and interviews like this one I'm doing with you right now. This is an anomaly. And so as a result, we've had no real banging of the drum and beating of the chest to go out and say, here's why it's nuts to not buy Hannover House. The stock price is lower than the book value, the liquidation book value. So we really feel that once we, over the next couple of quarters, and certainly even before that, we're going to have some of these corporate governance issues done with the completion of our audit and our film library valuation. And then I do think there's going to be a tremendous amount of publicity involved with the opening launch, the first day of photography of Mother Goose in December. I think that's going to turn a lot of heads and probably bring in some fresh eyeballs. So will the stock reach the goal that a lot of our shareholders have set, which is 10 cents? I don't know, but we're certainly in a position now where doing these corporate governance filings and the achievements that we're doing with the projects, at least logically, would support that. So I think it is a good time to look at the stock.
Our guest today has been Eric Parkinson. He is the CEO of Hannover House, Inc. They trade on the OTC markets under the ticker symbol HHSE. In closing here, Eric, is there anything that you and I didn't get a chance to talk about that you would like to get out to the listeners?
Well, just that you were talking about the decline in the DVD revenues, and I'd like to point out that revenue-wise, that it has actually been replaced with streaming. So streaming has become a big part of our business, and we do service not just places like Netflix, but we service all the other major accounts like Apple, Amazon, iTunes, and we have our own streaming service, VODWIT. So it's just a changing marketplace, and I wanted to make sure people understood that we were involved in streaming.
Absolutely. I want to wish you the best. I hope you come back on the show in the next couple of months and give us an update of what's going on. Sounds like you guys have a lot going on over there.
Thanks a lot, Everett.